Yo, and we have another video for you guys, and this is me reacting to Flacco saying the Breakfast Club are cooked. And I'm gonna be bringing my thoughts on it. He's gonna explain why he thinks they're done for.
And it might end them for good. This announcement on December 16th was the literal nail in the coffin for the Breakfast Club. So the announcement was Netflix and iHeart announced an exclusive video podcast partnership for iHeart Podcast. Now, the announcement stated that iHeartMedia, the #1 audio company in America, and Netflix today announced an exclusive video podcasting partnership for more than 15 industry-leading original iHeart podcasts. The agreement includes all new episodes from the podcast lineup, as well as select library episodes from each show. New video podcast episodes will launch on Netflix in early 2026 in the US, with more markets to follow. The lineup of the podcast joining Netflix includes The Breakfast Club, hosted by Charlamagne the God, and one of the biggest broadcast radio shows in the country. My Favorite Murder, one of the most successful true crime podcasts. Grammy-nominated music star Fat Joe and Jada Kiss Joe and Jada. Dear Child.
More like Lie and Jada. And Joe and Jada, they're pretty new to the podcast game, so I was surprised that I guess they were part of iHeartMedia, so they got struggled into it. And I'm thinking to myself, man, they must have got a bag for it, because they obviously saw what was going on with Joe Budden, because Joe Budden, they said he got like an exclusivity deal at one point where they were signing him up for a deal, but it's one of those things where you kind of lose all control once you start doing these things. These type of deals makes you lose control, because then you're making the content and they decide where it goes, and you're more free when you're out there by yourself.
Chelsea with Chelsea Handler. I knew the executives at iHeartMedia had no idea what they were doing. And
no, they don't know what they're doing. All they see is numbers, and they think numbers will transition to their platform. Or Netflix, or Netflix saw was numbers. Sorry, Netflix that sees numbers and they're thinking, oh yeah, numbers, 200 million, yeah, we'll sign it. It is bad. Sometimes you can sell your soul for money and you realize you got nothing at the end of it.
And everybody involved, including the people who had maybe a say in those conversations, didn't want to tell them, hey, don't do this, because they also wanted to get paid.
It's all about getting paid. They just want the bag and running off with it. And it's sad that we're just to get a bit of money, or a lot of money, because they're getting a good share out of the 200 million. You can destroy a brand, and that's what's going to happen right now, because YouTube is evolving every single year. And if you're out of the rotation for at least 2 years, like, you need to upload nearly every day. And when you're out of that rotation, it's going to destroy the brand. Because people are just going to forget about you. That's how YouTube works. Someone else is going to be grinding twice as hard, and they're going to get your viewers. And that's what's going to happen to the Breakfast Club.
But I knew they didn't know what they were doing when they included Joe and Jada in this deal. Joe and Jada just started a new podcast. Their YouTube numbers were going up. They were starting to gain momentum and steam. These absolute brain-dead executives thought the Joe and Jada podcast that's only...
Wait, so Joe and Jada are exclusively on Netflix now? That's disastrous for them. Because as much as Netflix has all these subscribers, they do not have the traffic. And that's what this is their mindset, is this mind-boggling. They don't understand. Discoverability on YouTube is higher than it would be on Netflix. These guys are brand new in the podcast game, Lie and Jada. We call them Lies and Jada. They're brand new. The podcast is okay-ish, as long as you kind of like realize that Fat Joe is gonna lie a lot through the podcast. You have to not take him too seriously. If you take him that seriously, your mind's gonna be boggled. You'll be like, "What? You was where?" Okay, well, I got distracted there. So yeah, their numbers were going up. They're doing pretty well, but it's like you're gonna take them away from YouTube, take them out of the algorithm rotation, and put them somewhere else. I mean, for them, they're still getting paid, right? So they don't really care. That's the issue. But when depends how long this lasts for. If this lasts for 10 years, they're finished. If it lasts for 5 years, they're somewhat finished as well.
only been out for 9 months, had enough cachet to where they could survive going to Netflix and being out of the YouTube rotation. They thought a brand new podcast with little to no cachet could survive only having one upload in a month on their YouTube channel. Bro, people have forgotten about Joe and Jada. I'm sorry to tell you guys, bro, we have forgotten about this podcast, bro. We have completely moved on to Mano and Jim Jones and them podcast. Like, we have completely forgotten.
Mano and Jim Jones. Even those guys seem like they're struggling to a point, man, because like, what was 50 Cent doing with them? It's like, are they actually going to get anything done, really? And everything that they seem to be doing is more of a... It seems like the beef between them and 50 is what more excites people than them doing the podcast. The whole Jim Jones and 50 beef that's going on, that's more exciting than Let's Rap About It podcast, because somewhat people do care. There's enough of them on the podcast to get enough viewers in, but do we actually care? Not really.
Forgot about this whatsoever. This is an embarrassment. This is a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace, man. Right? It doesn't make sense. Now, the podcast that we thought had enough cachet where they could withstand this idiotic decision was The Breakfast Club. But no, The Breakfast Club is drowning and struggling too. And even they're losing cultural cachet. Think about it. When was the last Breakfast Club interview moment that you guys thought, oh my. You can't name it, bro.
He's got a point there. I froze him at that face. That is hilarious. That face is hilarious. You know, he's got a good point. 'Cause I remember The Breakfast Club, they used to have certain times, they used to have a one interview, maybe 2 or 3 for the year that just blew up. And I remember, let's think, there was the 6ix9ine one. Remember the 6ix9ine one? 20 million views. That was 7 years ago, but that was 20 million views. And they got the next 6ix9ine interview as well, 7 years ago. 17 million views. So this is big numbers. Big numbers. Remember? And then you got they'll then chop it up into little segments as well. And those will get like 500,000 views, 300,000 views. Those doing good numbers. And I don't think they're going to do those numbers again now, the way they are positioning themselves with going to Netflix. Because Netflix now, it seems like they want more exclusivity on those type of moments and clips. And people just aren't going to Netflix to watch The Breakfast Club. I'm going to tell you how discoverability works with The Breakfast Club. Watch a music video or I watch a Vlad interview, and guess what? Related artists will pop up and it'll be an interview to do with maybe Dame Dash or 6ix9ine, and it will recommend it to me. Okay? Netflix doesn't have that. It doesn't have the algorithm discoverability like the way YouTube has. And that's where they're going to lose relevance in the way people are searching for their content. They know they exist, but once you're out the rotation of the algorithm, people aren't going to be on their phones and tapping on the interview, even to see Charlamagne shout out anything. Or let's say like that Dame Dash interview. That Dame Dash interview was crazy, right? Remember a couple years back there was a Dame Dash interview, and then they got another one, and every time Dame Dash comes on The Breakfast Club, he gives them numbers. And even if he had come again on The Breakfast Club, nobody's gonna really see this unless they go on they go and upload it to YouTube. And the way things are looking is that Netflix wants the exclusive good content for themselves, and not many people on Netflix. So they're giving them limited. I think this is a whole show there, but it just seems like they're just not that relevant. There's not much of a presence of them on YouTube anymore. It seems like the uploads are slowed down as well. It's got 70k views. Before then, they weren't doing that big numbers in the first place. Only when it was like a big guest like 6ix9ine at the height of his fame coming on, bam, 30 million views, 20 million views. Dame Dash give you a couple million views as well. but they ain't really doing giant numbers. Even some places like Revolt aren't doing big numbers because it's very crowded out there. You got a lot of people that are their competition. Not like in the sense of an interview like a podcast, but you got people doing interviews like Vlad, academics, Art of Dialogue, Say Cheese, and they'll upload maybe 4 or 5 times for the day. These guys, they look like they're barely uploading. What is this? I don't know. Barely uploading. Alright, let's see. They uploaded that. That got 14k views in an hour. Not too bad. So we got 3 uploads for the day. We uploaded that 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Got 5,000 views. I don't even know who this guy is. Ben Crump. They fairly stance against political. Who are these guys? I don't even know who this guy is. I feel bad for saying that. But then again, if he had any cultural relevance in the world, helping Boozy with legal issues. Well, clearly no one really knows who he was because he only got like 4,000 views. And then here he is again. 5,000. He may be like a lawyer or something. I don't know. But Jotty 50k. Clearly they don't know who this guy is because I don't know and the audience don't know. And you can tell that the Breakfast Club, they've been struggling for a while. Cause look at this. They were part of, let's see. They were part of Revolt. So the Breakfast Club was a prominent morning radio show simulcasting on Revolt TV March 2014 to 2021. So these people are symbiotic. They can't just survive. I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I do YouTube, and I'll probably get a couple 100,000 views, and that'll just do me. And you know, for the day, a couple 100,000 views, and I'm thinking, alright, we good. These guys have a whole studio and 3-4 other people, and the cameraman, the editor. They have all those people to pay, and they could be getting the same amount of views. Let's put that in perspective, right? Isn't it? You know what I mean? So they couldn't be able to pay all those people and then live off the YouTube revenue. So there had to be symbiotic some way to get revenue from somewhere else. And that's where I see the Revolt TV comes in. And then we had another thing where the show has since moved to BET following a long run on Revolt. Okay, and you know BET, they're going downhill. Because like you've got places like Zeus Network and YouTube in itself. They you know, you can have a version of YouTube, and if you start watching certain content to do with black streamers, you just end up in the black YouTube space. I started to watch certain things. I watched stuff about Blueface, Kai. I started getting recommended other black YouTubers. That's how the algorithm works. And I thought to myself, is there actually any need for BET? BET's viewership is so low now these days. And you got the whole Ratchet place where you got Zeus Network where black people will go to watch their black baddies and stuff like that. And that's where they'll go. It's like, you just don't really need BET anymore. You don't need 106 Apart for music videos anymore. It just don't need to exist. It had relevance in its place back in the early 2000s, but now with YouTube, man, you can find what you want to find anywhere. And that's what I want to realize. And let's look at this. Netflix iHeart deal, 200 million. They're just looking for a check, really. That's what it looks like to me. They're just looking for a check. They don't really care how it would affect the Breakfast Club, and I feel that this is really bad for them because it's going to affect them to a point where when they come at the deals for 5 years, when they come out of the deal after 5 years of having so uploads on YouTube, they're going to be almost forgotten about. people like Flacco, Academics, Vlad, they'll still be speeding ahead. And that's what's gonna happen. And Charlemagne's gonna be like, man, we took all that money, we filled our pockets, but the brand's dead. That's what's gonna happen with Charlemagne. He's gonna be like, the brand's dead, we filled our pockets. And at the end of the day, what is it all for? You still get yourself rich, but to have a brand that you built up over years just die out, that might be the case. You know, they took the money and then they killed themselves for it. That might be the end result of the Breakfast Club. They come back to YouTube out of the 5-year deal, pockets full. They're lazy, their bellies are full. The brand's dead. Everyone else is spread ahead. And that's it. It's finished. It may be the worst mistake they ever did. But anyway, like, subscribe, and I'm out.